Hey, what's up my Dragon Legion? How y'all been? So the Dragoons. Today we're going to be doing another Cardfight Vanguard deck profile of my current Brawlers Narukami deck update. And I have been messing around with the deck a little bit here and there. And I won't lie, I haven't really changed the deck really too much. Except for like maybe a few cards in the main deck. Nothing really too much of the main has really changed really too much. Nothing really too much for you to notice anything really too different. While I do have some plans of maybe making some changes after the holidays are done, but when the holidays are done, I do plan to make a couple changes to the main deck. As for the strides, I have made a couple of changes with the strides. I do think that will be a little more effective, a lot more efficient for when the format comes up, all that such, when the holidays are done over with. But as of right now, how the deck is in general, it has been doing pretty well. It's been pretty heavy hitting. It's been allowing me to do what's been able to do here and there. My win ratio so far with this deck right here is so far 11 wins and 3 losses, so it definitely has a nice potential here and there. But again, there is always room for improvement, and I will be discussing what I'm currently doing, what I may be currently doing, and how much the deck has been doing all in general. So, with that being said, let's move on straight into the deck profile, and I'll be doing my explanations from there on such. As usual, for those of you all who are just here at NetDeck, I did leave the deck list in the description down below for those of you all who are just here at NetDeck. I only ask that you drop a like on your way out. It means a lot to me. It's very appreciative. And with that being said, let's move on straight into the profile. Sorry, Dragoons. Alright, start with Vanguard. Start with the one Spark Kid Dragoon. Just a generic good Counterblast 1, put him solo Vanguard, 2, look at the top 5 cards that can get great 3 among them. Nothing really too special about this card right here. I couldn't really think of what other Forerunners I really wanted to play for this deck right here. There were some ideas, but nothing that really came to my mind really too often as such. But for right now, at the moment, Spark Kid Dragoon is really good, is a good substitute Forerunner to play. Until I find the right Forerunner to play over him, he'll be the right Forerunner, but once I find a better one, he'll definitely be taken out, but he's still good until then. So, nothing really too wrong with Forerunner like that. Plus, also another thing that's also good about this guy right here is that since you are going to be playing your Big Bang Knuckle Buster, who will be allowing you to put a Brawler in your hand, into a Big Bang in your hand to assault in order to do stuff right here, and you want to be able to search out your Big Bang Dragon in order to do stuff right here, he does allow more potentially more consistent plays where you can potentially do so. So yeah. Next up, the trigger liners. For triggers, we have the obvious, the 4 heals. Nothing too special explained about the heals right here, especially for G format, all that such, and G Guardians, all that good such. And for the rest triggers, we have the usual 8 criticals total right here. We're playing 8 Brawler special criticals right here because it does give you the ability where does he require to be put in soul? It's been a while. Wow, put in deck. No, he's a critical. He's a critical trigger that can put himself back into the deck right here, which is what we mostly want. The ability where he chooses one of your other units to gain 3,000 power when you attack his hit is not bad, especially considering that Big Bang Knuckle and Big Bang Dragon, Big Bang Buster both can attack multiple units at once. So you will get some massive powers eventually, but you mostly want to use this guy's ability just for the fact that you have an extra critical in your deck, so you can have more criticals to go off when you want to go off with some more critical triggers. And go in for that heavy damage as much as you can. And then everything else is just 4 draws. Why? Because drawing is always nice. And that's it for the triggers. Now for the grade 1s. For the grade 1s, we have 4 regular average perfect guards right here. If this was a more competitive deck, I would definitely take him out for the unflipped perfect guards. I do have the unflipped perfect guards. They're just currently occupied in my Kaiser Vermilion deck and my Vanguard deck as of right now. So again, if this was a more competitive deck, these would be taken out for the unflipped perfect guards. For right now, at the moment, these will be just fine for now. 4 money bolts, so you can have your instant strike plays more oftenly. And then next up, we have 2 copies of Rising Phoenix. Just an average Soul Blast 2, draw 1 when he's called Regard Circle, nothing too special. And yes, we are still, last time we did a profile, we were playing 3 of him, now we're playing only 2. We cut out the third one, so we can play 4 copies instead of just 3. 4 copies of Brawler Ace. Just a nice guy right here where every time your attack is a hit while your Vanguard is Brawler, he gains 3,000 power. And as we all know, Brawlers is a heavy attacking reliant deck that does attack Vanguards and Rear Guards all at once. So eventually, the power of this guy, along with Rear Guards, do stack up pretty well, pretty quickly. He actually does become a pretty good Rear Guard on his own if he's not boosting, and you end up attacking with him as well, as long as you're able to get these 2 hits off. But of course, you mostly want to use him as a booster because he becomes a very massive booster, very quickly, very fast. Especially consider the fact that this deck could potentially hit up to a huge amount of units, and this guy could become a big, huge supporter in the long run, regardless. So that right there was the grade 1s. Now for the grade 2s. So grade 2s, we play 3 copies each of the main for Big Bang Knuckle Buster and Big Bang Knuckle Dragon. Big Bang / Dragon and Big Bang / Buster right here. Not only they're mostly in there for as being the mates for your Big Bang Knuckles, they're also really great rear guards as well. They all have the ability of every time your Vanguard attack is a hit, these guys will gain 3,000 power till end of turn. And as I mentioned earlier with Arc earlier, these guys can get some very strong, some huge power right out of nowhere as well. And even if your attack on the Vanguard is not hit, as long as you get some massive hits on the rear guards at least these guys will stack up on power very quickly. And if you hit any critical triggers in your drive checks, these guys will become a big, huge threat to your opponent very fast, very quickly. But again, they are always good as being the Legion mates for your Vanguards as well, of course. And then everything else, we have 3 copies of Skyhowl Dragon. Just a nice generic Count Blast 1, retire a front row rear guard when you first call the rear guard circle. Really good card in general. This allows you to pick up more rear guards so you don't have to decide which ones you want to attack into, because you're not always going to be allowed to attack all your opponent's rear guards at once. So in case if there's that one annoying rear guard that isn't going to be able to get hit, you can always use this guy's ability to pick off that rear guard instead, and then your Vanguard will be able to take care of the rear guards that he can be able to hit. So it's a good card in general. And then finally, to end the grade 2s, we have 2 copies of Chatura. Just a good generic on-hit, Count Blast 1 to draw a card and choose a card for opponent's drop zone and be binded. Really cool card in general. Excuse me. And then for the grade 3s, it's pretty much obvious. 4 copies of Big Bang Knuckle Dragon and 4 copies of Big Bang Knuckle Buster right here. Now, ideally, your ideal Vanguard is, of course, Buster. You use Buster's skill to put him in the soul of him from hand and the soul of his ability, so you can attack the entire back row, some massive huge amount of rear guards, and then get some massive huge hits in as well. All that typical good stuff, but riding into Big Bang Knuckle Dragon isn't as bad as people think it is. Keep in mind, you are still gaining the ability to attack the entire front row, and there are those annoying front row units you do want to deal with, all that such. So Big Bang Knuckle Dragon isn't always as terrible as people like to claim it is. And even if it is, worst case scenario, you can always pitch it for either your strike cost or pitch it for being putting solo Vanguard of this guy right here, so you can be able to use your Buster Dragon skill regardless. So all in all, both Dragon and Buster are still great cards regardless, at least in my perspective opinion. And that right there was the main deck right there. Now for the strides. For the strides, we have, just give me a second, there we go. For the strides, we have 4 copies of True Brawler Big Bang Knuckle Turbo, the idea boss card retired deck right here. This card can pretty much attack up to 3 units for every Big Bang you have in this card heart. So if your Vanguard is in Legion and then you stride to this card right here, you can literally attack all your opponent's units all at once in one attack. So this card right here allows you to rush into some really huge resources right here. And what's really cool about this card right here is that he doesn't, in order to pay for the cost right here, while he does require a Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1, he doesn't require a Persona Flip specifically in order to go all of his guy's ability. You can just flip something that you don't need, like let's say a Lightning Dragon Knight, and he can go in with some massive huge attacks as well. While also, another thing that's also good about this card right here is he'll also gain 5,000 power for each one of these guys face up in your G zone, and he'll also gain the additional ability to allow you to take out some nice important resources here and there as well. So very quickly, this card can become a very potent threat to your opponent very quickly if he's not dealt with soon enough. And then next up, we have the 4 Conquest. Conquest is still good no matter what era Vanguard is. At least that's how I see it right now. Counter Blast doesn't require Counter Blast, and you just flip another one of him, and that's it. and you can just pretty much just retire from a rear guard, and then all your rear guards gain in the front row will gain pretty much 10k power if your opponent has no front row rear guards, which is nice. And then the rest of the rear guards are just, the rest of the strides right here are just there just for either to go with Conquest, or not Conquest, either go with Turbo, so you can have more, something to pay with Turbo, or just for backup in case you don't feel like going to Turbo, and or your opponent has no resources to go off retired by Turbo. So for the rest of the strides, we have Voltechzapper Dragon, 2 copies of him, and 2 copies of Light Dragon Knight. Dragon Knight, in case, as I said earlier, in case the opponent doesn't have too many options of rear guards, you can just stride into him instead. And this guy right here is just there as an option to flip face up in case if you don't want to burn out into your other turbos. But there are some times where you could actually have resources binded thanks to the effect of your Chaturas, so you could potentially go off with this guy's abilities at least once. He does gain 10k power and retire 1 rear guard and bind that rear guard for every 1 copy, or not 1 copy, for every 1 rear guard that your opponent has, 1 unit that is currently binded. So not a bad card in general. And then the rest of the strides are just G Guardians. For G Guardians, we have the Emperor. That's about it, really. Such not a bad G Guard in general. But once I pick up the new G Guardian Dragon, this guy will be at least 2 of these guys will be taken out for the new G Guardian Dragon, and a Dragon will definitely give this deck a lot more better defenses than playing 4 of these guys over here. So once I get Dragon, I'll definitely play 2 or 3 Dragons, and then play 1 or 2 copies of him, depending on how many Dragons I pick up. And yeah, Dragoons. That right there was my current Narukami Brawler's deck profile. Big Bang Brawler's deck profile, be more specifically. I'm really liking this deck right here, and I can't wait to make some further changes with the deck needs, and I'm really looking forward to what the deck will do once the new changes comes up and such. And I'm really looking forward to what the deck will do once the holidays are done over with. So, with that being said, let me know what Dragoons think about this deck profile in the comment section down below, and I will see Dragoons around. Hope Dragoons enjoy this video. Please leave a like, favorite if you did, and share this video to other people. It really helps me out a lot. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, keep all these updates about myself, this channel, and my upcoming gaming channel, and subscribe today to become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. Hit that notification button so you can be updated on the latest uploads as soon as possible. And I'll see Dragoons another day. Christian Dragoon, signing out. Peace.